Okay, so thanks everybody for being back here. We have a presentation at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, so Dr. Schwartzbauer is the executive director for the Federation of Chiropractic Licensing Boards. He's going to be presenting on the recognized chiropractic specialty program and potential possible rulemaking. So I know Oklahoma and a couple other jurisdictions are looking at rulemaking to allow for the RCSP recognition. And so we'll hear from Dr. Schwartzbauer about that.
All right.
Great.
I know it's a little before 1, but if you wanted to start, that's up to you.
John, are you there?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. Krista, is it okay if I can share screen, or is that not allowed?
No, go ahead.
All right. I think you may need to make me a co-host or give me permission to share screen.
Let's do. Let me go into the original.
If not, it's okay.
No, I didn't create this meeting, so I'm just going in there.
I just made John a presenter, so try now.
Yeah. Perfect. I've got that button showing up, so I should be good. Let me know when you can see the screen.
Yep, we got it.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks so much for allowing me some time on your agenda. I appreciate it. My name is John Schwartzbauer. I'm the executive director at FCLB, and I'm here to talk a little bit about the RCSP program. That's the Recognized Chiropractic Specialties program that we just started not too long ago. And maybe first what I will do is just give you a brief little background or history. And I won't go over 20 minutes for sure, and hopefully we'll finish much sooner than that, depending on maybe what questions you have. But just to give a little brief background, this all started about 2019. It was actually at the Coeur d'Alene district meetings, and maybe Cass, you may have been at that meeting. And so if you're unfamiliar with the district meetings, it's an opportunity for boards to get together and share some issues that they're having at that particular time with the rest of the individuals from districts 1 and 4 that show up at that meeting, and they kind of, problem solve or discuss how to maybe handle it, or just ask how other boards are handling certain issues. And the issue of specialty programs came up at that point. And you can probably understand the complaint already if you think about it. Chiropractic boards were getting complaints submitted to them, oftentimes from another chiropractor who typically practiced down the street from a chiropractor who is advertising that they are a specialist in XYZ chiropractic, knowing full well that there's really not a specialty in XYZ chiropractic. And the typical scenario goes is that the chiropractor maybe takes a weekend seminar on XYZ chiropractic and gets a certificate of attendance, and then, advertises that they are a so-called specialist in that particular method or practice methodology. And so boards were talking about this and asking each other, how do you vet these so-called specialty programs? And I think it was determined that there wasn't maybe a great uniform way across the country to do that. In Canada, they have the colleges up there, and so that's a very formalized system. But in the US, there isn't, and you could have 50 different ways of recognizing or not recognizing specialty programs, and boards were having problems trying to do that, and so they asked FCLB if we wouldn't mind putting together something that could help the individual boards vet these so-called specialty programs. And so that's how it started. The FCLB board of directors created a task force, and from that point on, they started off on the course to create policies and criteria in order to help better vet these programs, with the idea that we would offer it then to our member boards as another way to lessen the burden on the boards. And so that was 6 years ago. It's hard to believe, but finally gotten to the point now where we're going to our member boards and saying, okay, this is what we've created. And we are interested to find out if you are looking to recognize our RCSP program. And so I just want to go over a few slides here. That's a little bit about the history. Again, a little bit about RCSP and our FCLB values. We really try to reduce the workload on our member boards. If it doesn't really do that, then there's no real benefit for us and for you, of course. And so that's first and foremost. And so we believe the RCSP program does that. We wanted to build a database for reliable reports for specialty programs and the requirements, and a way of quality assurance and assuring quality assurance in those specialty programs. And again, help our boards vet specialty programs, because a lot of boards don't have maybe the expertise on hand or the time to do the vetting. We also wanted to build some confidence for our member boards in knowing that our reviewers are post-grad chiropractic educators, assessors, with the willingness and ability to review applicants of these specialty program providers to make sure that they meet the criteria that we have created. We have about 26 criteria that we measure these providers with. It's sort of like, I know all of you are familiar with the Council on Chiropractic Education, CCE, and they accredit chiropractic colleges. This is sort of a miniature approach to sort of accredit or oversee the specialty program providers based on demonstrating compliance with the 26 criteria. And then we also, not only do they have to demonstrate compliance with the criteria on the front end, but we also do retrospective reviews to make sure they continue compliance as they move forward. Again, creating efficiencies for boards and staff. You can utilize us to help you. The boards can, the board staff can utilize us to vet these programs and providers, and make sure that they have been reviewed for compliance with their standards again. Something I just want to point out is that you always have a voice through this, through FCLB. As a member board, you are FCLB. You elect our decision makers, our board of directors, who ultimately determine who is on our committees, like the RCSP committee. So you've had a voice throughout the process. We've taken the process and we have made lots of stops along the way. One of the stops is what you're experiencing right now by us joining your board for this meeting. But then before that, we've even talked with board administrators group, our CBAC group, and our CBLAC group, our board chiropractic legal advisors group. or committee. So we've tried to get input along the way, and all of that to say this is that, you know, you are already a part of RCSP, and you might not even think about it in that context. With that being said, RCSP cannot be the only approval process. Obviously, you still will have to handle providers who choose not to be recognized by RCSP. So you would always have to maintain that pathway. And so that would not go away. And also it's important to point out that this is just a means of delegating some of the workload associated with that authority. Just like you do with fingerprinting, if you do that in Oregon, or the examination, you delegate that or to the MBCE. So what about the profession? Well, ultimately, we also hope that this program will improve specialty providers' offerings in the profession and increase the quality and credibility of these specialized programs. So we ultimately have better trained professionals. And then also we realized that that would lead to increased public safety as well. These programs or these providers, if they get recognized, they have to have a minimum of 100 hours in their program. That's on the small side. I know that diplomate programs can be anywhere up to 300 and more, but when we created it, we decided to stick with the 100 minimum hours for the program. And they also have to have an outside assessment for their final passing of the program. It can't be a test that's created by the education group itself. So they have to outsource that to a third party. It could be any third party, but it can't be their own educational program. The fees that are associated with RCSP, there's no fees to the member boards. If a provider wants to get recognized, there is an application fee and an annual recognition fee, but that is not related to our member boards at all. That's a common question that we get. So maybe I'll pause there. I know I submitted in advance a little summary sheet. It's probably in your materials, along with model language, suggested model language that could be used depending on how you would need to word it in statute or regs, or even maybe just a board policy. You know, that's up for conversation with your legal team. But at this point, what we're trying to do is get at least 17 states on board with this in our initial launch before we launch it to the providers out there. We're sort of following the interstate compact model with that to assure that we have enough value for the providers before we do the hard launch to them. We've done a soft launch to the providers, just educating them that, you know, we're taking this message, we're sharing it with our boards, but the committee felt like getting to 17 jurisdictions before we actually open it up to them would be a good starting point. We have a website, RCSP website. So if you go to rcsp.fclb.org, you'll see the website, the structure that's created. So if Oregon agrees to become a board that accepts RCSP, we would add your language, however you choose to write it, under that section. And then there's a section on recognized providers. So your board staff at any point in time could go to the website and see which providers have been recognized, to know that those groups have been vetted properly. So I think what I will do is stop sharing here for a second and just open it up for Q&A. I hope I didn't go too fast, but I know you're very busy with your agenda today. So is there any questions for me?
I have a couple, John.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming and presenting. So what happens? You said you wanted to get 17 states on board as for the launch. What happens if you don't get those 17? I mean, is
Yeah,
the program still existing? I guess is my question.
Yeah, we would still keep trying. I mean, it's if you're familiar with our PACE program, that wasn't built in a day, and so it took a lot of time after launch to get boards on with us, and it's just part of the process. We know that we're patient, so we realize we'll just keep working. We also realize things come in cycles in regulation. Things ebb and flow. Like I said, this started 6 years ago in 2019, where maybe there were more complaints coming in regarding specialty program advertising and that kind of thing. And we also recognize that maybe there's not as many of those coming in now to motivate states to want to sign on, but that can change. So it's sort of like foreign trained chiropractors. Sometimes that's a hot issue, and then it goes slow for a while and then comes back. And so we recognize it. And it might not be a pressing issue right now, maybe as it was in 2019, but we also understand that it can come back and be an issue. We know that we're hearing that specialty program attendance is a little low right now, and there's probably lots of reasons for that. So nothing that we need to dive into now, but these are just the ebb and flows of issues in chiropractic regulation.
Well, and actually for Oregon, this is really timely for us because we have just recently had a few cases and a few issues that have come up with regard to specialty program designation and utilization in the advertising. So super timely. And also I was on the RCSP editing committee
Yes.
with Dr. Campion. And so I was able to assist with the 26 criteria and what that looked like. And so it's something that I'm quite familiar with and appreciate. I had another question and it completely I lost it. So I'll think about it later.
Yeah, it will come back to you. And thank you. You did a lot of work on editing those documents in advance for us. And I know the committee really, and the organization really appreciated your sharp pen, Cass. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Is there an additional cost to this?
Yeah, for the providers, they have to pay, if they're a for-profit, they have to pay $1,000 for their application, and then $2,000 annual renewal fee. And if they're a not-for-profit, it's $500 to apply and only $1,000 for their annual recognition fee, so half of the amount. Again, there's no cost to boards though. So member boards, zero cost. It's just the providers who want to go through the process and get recognized. And remember too, it's a benefit. Not only do they know, will they have the comfort in knowing that all of these states, let's start with 17 to begin with, already recognize their program, so they can advertise their specialty with peace of mind. But it's also a good stamp of approval to go through the process and get recognized based on our criteria. And if you were a smart provider, specialty provider, you would advertise that as saying, hey, we are a recognized RCSP provider. And so we know that there's some benefits for them to market to the chiros too once they've gone through the process. So I think the value added is there, especially once we get to that 17 state kind of tipping point. Cass, did you think of your question?
What number are you at? How many states have signed up?
You're muted.
Oh, good question. Yeah, so we have 3 right now, Connecticut, Oklahoma, and there's one more that just joined us. Oh, West Virginia. Arizona, they have a bill that's in committee. They had to do it through statute, so they have a bill in committee, so that's where that one is. And Nevada, They are also in the legislative process. So that's passed at the board level, but it's got to go through, they have harder hoops to jump through. And then Minnesota just voted, last week I got word that they are approving it as well. So we're waiting on their legal language from their legal advisors, and then we'll update that. So right now we're kind of doing this. We're going before boards and answering questions and allowing you to talk about it, discuss it, whether you decide now or in the near future, or choose to hold off. There's not a hard sell here, but we just want to educate all of our boards that this is out there. And as Cass mentioned, it sounds like this is something that could be beneficial for your state right now.
Can I ask the states that have joined what kind of specialty programs they have requested of the RCSP to help with? Like what the specialty programs look like?
Yeah, so the states don't actually designate which specialty programs that they want to have input with. What the states do is they say, we recognize the RCSP program as a vetting program, and kind of hand that over to us. So we haven't had any providers yet going through the application process. So again, we've not tried to hard sell it to them because we haven't hit our 17 states. But what we are doing is creating and sharing the criteria so they can start to get comfortable with it. So when we do hit that 17, I say 17, maybe the board will say 15 is good or whatever. Whenever we hit that mark, then we push it to the providers and start building that. Now, the chiropractic profession has at any given point at a time maybe up to 15, 17 specialty programs out there. It could be less, it could be more, and that could be all different levels of specificity, whether it's technique or diagnosis, or whether it's diplomat or certification. You have a broad spectrum there. So what we would be doing is just vetting them off of the 26 criteria that are already approved. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Sure. Great question. Any other questions?
You said there's 26 criteria.
Yeah, 25 or 26. I should have looked that up. It's and by the way, that's right in the website. So if you click on documents, here, let me go back and check. Yes, 25, 26 here. I stand corrected, 25. Thank you for that question.
What was the number? Do they have to pass? Sorry, maybe you covered this. All 25 criteria to be considered a specialty program?
They do have to demonstrate compliance with all 25 criteria. Now, the process will not be punitive as far as when they apply. We will help them if they are deficient in one of the criteria. We will actually help them become compliant with that if they have the patience to work through those whatever issues are holding them back. So it's a hand-holding process, and that's similar to what we do with PACE, by the way. For those of you who don't know, we kind of built this program based on the bones of PACE. So that infrastructure that we use for PACE is what we, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mentality. We built this off of the PACE infrastructure. That's a great question.
And I still can't quite remember the question that I had again, so I think we're good, John.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be with you. If there's any other questions that come up, please don't hesitate to reach out or have your staff, Cass or Krista, reach out, and we'll be happy to try to answer any of those. Again, it's not a hard sell. We're here to educate you on what's available with the FCLB, and we're here to help at any time. And just another shout out for all of you for what you do for public protection. We work with all of these member boards who, and we know that oftentimes it can be a thankless job. And so we certainly thank you for all the hard work that you do.
Thanks,
Thank you
John.
so much.
Okay, take care.
Thanks, John.
Bye now.
So within your materials are the other boards' proposed language, either what they're looking at or what's already been approved. And really, it's up to the board whether we want to move forward with a model rule or not. What do you think? Krista, do you want to bring up the model rules from Oklahoma?
Yeah, the actual rule language.
Yeah, just so the board
Okay.
could see what it could look like.
Yeah, I sure think that could be pretty helpful from an investigative standpoint
Mhm.
Is this,
to have some kind of a standard.
is that the one you're looking for?
Yes, I believe so. There may have been a red line version, but this will work. I think what is the highlighted version of what we're looking at.
So what kind of, I mean, in plain language, what kind of authority are we delegating if we did this? I'm having a hard time.
Yeah, so much like what John was referring to, the PACE program. So what we have for PACE is saying if a continuing education provider is a PACE provider that they've been approved for FCLB, then those CE that they've taught are automatically approved by us. And so that's essentially the same thing. Whereas if a provider goes through this 25 criteria and they've met the criteria that FCLB has set forward, then they would be approved by us as having that certificate program or specialty program designation. So whoever went through that program of that provider would be qualified in that way.
Okay. Have we ever had issues come up where they're like in the PACE program, have there ever been issues where there may be some disagreement with what they've decided versus what we as a board?
Actually, no, and FCLB has been pretty amazing. So if a provider qualified at one time to be a PACE provider, and I'm assuming the same thing with our CSP, and they tend to, gradually decrease in quality, FCLB is very open to reassessing and getting them off their panels.
So I'm on the PACE committee.
There you go, Karen.
Yeah, and so we get renewals. They have to reapply every 3 years, and so they have to maintain certain standards. And I have voted no on a handful of them because they haven't, or on initials, and they don't meet qualifications, and so they don't get it. So I would assume this would be the same.
Yeah. And I would think actually the RCSP program is even a little bit more rigorous with the 25 criteria.
Yeah.
I say yeah. I mean, it sounds great.
I'm a little bit confused about what they mean by the specialty program. Like, what exactly does that entail? Like, I guess it makes me think of like the specialty program of completing a certification in minor surgery, or, it makes me think of that, but I don't know if I'm like not understanding because I just don't know exactly what they're doing or what they're trying to do.
So anybody have examples of specialty programs? So what was the one that we just saw? claiming to be claiming to be an expert in breast thermography.
Okay, got it.
Or I want to say DACBAR, but that's its own special. I mean, what other specialties are there?
I mean, the
There's
only ones I can think of is
sports, rehab.
Functional neurology.
oh, okay. So it's not like in the rule of like minor surgery and
Oh no.
and like OBGYN, that's like completely separate from those type of specialties.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's like a, okay. And now so it's like oversight clearinghouse of these organizations have FCLB's stamp of approval. They meet, or not stamp, but they meet the criteria. They've been
Right. So this is
vetted.
their version of accreditation of those programs.
Yeah. Okay. I get that now. I was thinking like Miriam too. And I was like, specialty, we only have like 3 specialties.
Right.
Or specialty certifications.
The one email I forwarded to you, Cass, was about people claiming to be accident specialists or motor vehicle accident specialists.
That's right. Yeah.
Do we have a list?
And so in order for people to claim that, they would need to go through a provider that was approved by RCSP. And if they had gone through that provider, then yes, they could claim that. Well, and to John's point, there FCLB can't be the only approver because not all providers are going to go through our CSP. So we would still need to do our due diligence in investigating what their claim is, but they could the doc themselves, the licensee themselves could circumvent a lot of that by saying, look, I got this through RCSP.
Do we have a list of what groups they already have given their, again, stamp on?
No, John was saying that they haven't had any providers yet sign up because they don't have their the 17 states yet. So they weren't going to launch it to providers until they had the 17 states lined up.
But we don't know what groups, so they're not launching it to providers, but when we say providers, are we talking about physicians, or are we talking about the associations or groups?
Yes, to all of that. I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah. I would imagine that individual licensees or individual doctors who want to get into teaching these programs are going to have a little bit more difficulty just for the bandwidth required to meet the criteria. But that's just my guess.
Where do we find the criteria?
It's www.rcsp.fclb.org.
Yeah, and where on there is it?
Oh, I have no idea.
I think it's in the document section, the RCSP governing documents.
Okay.
Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it.
So if the board wanted to move forward, now, this is Oklahoma's language, Oklahoma's model rule. Me and Krista can come up with our own model rule and figure out where it could fit and what it would look like, and bring it back to October if we wanted to look at it then.
I think that's a great idea.
Does it have to go as a rule? Can it be like
Yes,
a policy?
It could be a policy, but I would rather have it be a rule, much like our PACE provider CE program, delegation.
I'm good with that.
Everybody else good? Okay.
What's the downside? I mean, can anybody make a counter argument?
That's what I was trying to figure out. That's why I've been such a supporter of it since the beginning, because there really isn't. There's no cost to us, and that was one thing that I raised with FCLB originally, was they'll get much more buy-in if it's part of our membership fees rather than an additional cost to the member boards. Thank you, Micah. We got your message. And so no cost to us. I mean, there is no downside. The only downside that I could see is if we don't have confidence in FCLB's vetting, and I would not share that concern. I don't have that concern at all.
Would we be able to, move away from them if in the event we felt that it wasn't carried out well?
Yeah. I mean, if it's in rule, we can change it.
Then
And since they're not going to be the sole reviewing entity, we would still have, that ability no matter what.
as long as we feel comfortable, I don't, as long as we feel comfortable with their process, I don't see any downside. So.
And much like, I mean, Karen is a member of their PACE committee, member board delegates can also become members of the RCSP review committee, I'm sure, once it's created. So, if you're interested in doing that kind of review, FCLB is always open to having assistance.
All right.
All right. So we'll bring back a red line draft rule in October. Great. Thank you, everybody.
All right. So moving on to discussion and action items. We actually already did A. Enter to the board. Customer service standards draft policy.
So this may feel familiar to you. We already have a draft that was submitted, and then the DAS reviewers got back to us as to additions that need to be made. And Krista, you want to pull that up?
Is that what you're looking for? Are you looking for the?
Yeah, so this was our draft from January that was approved, and then it was reviewed. And can you scroll down? So the reviewers, they wanted an independent, let's see, the point of contact we added a little bit more process based on the review that we received. And another addition, I'm sorry I didn't do a red line of this. Oh, the translation, that's what it was, translation of information. We just fleshed out a little bit more detail is what they were asking us. So really the question before the board is just to approve this revised version. And this is part of the governor's expectations that was implemented about 2 years ago.
Did people look at this ahead of time?
So yeah, we have quite a few of these policy reviews that we need to have reviewed and adopted just for the end of the biennium and due dates that are coming up.
And yes, I reviewed it ahead of time. I didn't have nothing popped out at me as typos or otherwise needing to bring up. I understood it all.
Thank you. So if we could get a vote on this revised draft.
I will make a motion to accept the customer service standards policy. I take out draft as amended.
Second.
That's
have a motion. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We shall vote. Karen?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
Aye for myself, motion carries.
Great. Next one up is our strategic plan review. It's coming up. So we have both the strategic plan and the IT strategic plan that need to be adopted.
Sorry, it really doesn't like what I'm doing.
It's also in your materials, everybody, if you want to pull it up on your own.
Yeah. Did I read somewhere that technically we don't have to have an IT strategic plan? Did I read that in like maybe the letter from the governor or something?
Yeah, so we had originally with agencies that had less than 50 employees, we weren't required to have an IT strategic plan, and that was the initial governor's expectations. That just changed this about 2 months ago. But what we didn't need to actually do, we could have wrapped up the IT strategic plan part within our strategic plan instead of having an individual or independent document. But we just did both. We did the strategic plan that incorporates our affirmative action statement and our DEI statement, and then the IT strategic plan separately because we had so much going on with Lumen. So Krista, could you pull up the strategic plan first?
Oh, yes. Well, one would think I can. I just had it down.
When I was reviewing the materials, I was like, oh, you got overachievers for your usual overachievers.
Well, it was really actually funny because you say that, and I just attended the All Boards Commission meeting in June. And in that meeting, they were kind of doing a rehash of the IT strategic plan process, and all of them, because this was a small board meeting. And they're like, well, you guys didn't need to have plans. And this was after everybody had submitted versions of something. And it was like, why are you saying that now? Like you could have said that a long time ago. But, I'd much rather have something submitted than not, for sure. So this is our strategic plan for, it should be 2025, 27. There we go. And this, our mission and vision and values from 2019, we did 6 years ago now. And I'm trying to remember how much I've updated this. Keep scrolling, Krista, you're fine. And when we have addressed this strategic plan before, it was within actually our board retreat meeting. And that board retreat's usually in person. We spend a whole lot of time, really focused time on what our strategic plan is and our work plan. And right now, this just needs to be updated. And hopefully our budget will allow maybe in January to have a board retreat sometime next year, an in-person retreat. And we can really get into the details here. So these are the updates.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can think of any other goals or, outcomes that you'd like to see in 25, 27, we can add it to them. I was just working off of what we already had.
Do we need to update the 23 to 25 on this?
Yeah, we should.
And then in the bottom row, I think however you want to count it. The second column from the right, I think it also says 23, 25. It's just out of view.
Okay, so is it going to be 25 to 27?
It is.
And these
Yeah.
right here, right?
Yeah, actually, yes, update that because we're not finished with that full review. We're in the process today, actually. So are there any other accomplishments or goals that we'd like to see that you can think of?
The continuing ed piece. I don't know how close we are to being able to start that.
Yeah, we could actually include that for the end of 2027 for sure. So if you want to throw in another column, Krista, if that's possible.
Sure. I don't know. If I just, yeah, I don't know how to do that.
All right, let me just take notes and we can add it to it. So the key goal objective would be to create and implement OBCE continuing education program.
Mm-hmm.
And then making progress. What would progress be? And I'm looking at you, Craig. What would progress be?
Well, first, wow, making progress.
So we've already started kind of preliminary on this goal in that Craig has found a vendor or learning, thank you, learning platform. So what about that learning platform that we could make progress on?
But yeah, just purchasing it or deciding that that's the learning platform we want to go with.
Okay.
And then once we have that learning platform, then we can see what content or how the content needs to go into that learning platform, how it should be implemented or stuff.
Okay, so the first one then, making progress, would be vet and purchase a learning platform and then create content.
Correct.
Okay.
Or maybe design content or yeah, just I guess yeah, put just content because that'll kind of go hand in hand.
Okay. I think I jumped a row of how we achieve the objectives. So what, how, and why or when. How achieve would be staff to review learning platforms and CE curricula. Okay. Does that sound good for everybody for that update?
Yes.
Okay. We can add that and make that part of the final document. Any other updates to this document that you can see? And I'll look at actually the demographics and get a hold of everybody because I think our demographics have changed with staff changes and stuff. And new board members. Okay. So with those
Good.
changes, are we good? Could we get a vote? So
On
assuming that these
on the
changes
age
were,
range, there's the numbers that are off on that.
yeah,
So
let me
25
follow.
to 20.
Let me follow up with you guys individually and I'll get it updated.
So do we vote on it today or wait?
Yeah, let's give me a vote today. So then once those updates are handled, we can just submit it.
Okay, I approve, I make a motion to approve the strategic plan with the updated demographics as amended,
And
with the
new goal.
amendment and
As
updated
amended.
demographics.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Second.
Scott.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Karen,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Micah,
Aye.
and an aye for myself. Motion carries.
Thank you. And now for our IT strategic plan. So thank you, Krista, for pulling this together. It was literally probably within your first week that you had this done because it was due the week that you started or something similar. It was really much due within 2 weeks of her starting. And so it was phenomenal work for her to put this together. And as you can tell, we have a whole lot of Inlumen issues that are essentially our IT strategic plan is addressing those, and our KPMs reporting and the like. So. Any changes, any questions?
Anyone want to make a motion?
Someone feel motiony?
I'll make a motion that we accept the IT strategic plan as written.
Thank you.
Second.
Scott.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Karen,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Micah,
Aye.
aye for myself. Motion carries.
So next up is our continuing of operation plan. And this is kind of interesting because usually COOP plans are with regard to like if there's a wildfire or the electricity goes out or there's Cascadia, earthquake or some disastrous thing that happens, and we don't have a physical office space. So it's kind of an interesting thing to go through this process. We still have to have a call tree. We still have to, well, for example, when my family was involved with with a wildfire that was out here and had to evacuate for a few days. And what does that mean? And so, who's in charge if I'm not able to, and the like. And so that's what this explains. And I think we've updated this for this year. Even to the point we have a mailing address and not the physical office space. So this has the different appendices attached.
How often is our mailing address checked a week? I know we talked about that in a different, but just
At least once a week.
okay.
Does anybody need to see anything?
No, I was looking at it on my own, Surface, but I thought it looked really good, and I was just double checking. I was reading it to the end, but I was like making sure. I was like, wait, but I didn't. Nothing jumped out at me as being needing to be addressed.
Okay, I will make a motion to accept the coop, or do you want me to say it out?
That's fine.
As, was this written? As written?
Yeah,
Or
as
amended?
written.
As written.
Uh-huh.
As written.
Second.
That Lori?
Yeah. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We will take a vote. Karen?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Mike?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Micah?
Aye.
And I for myself, motion carries.
perfect. Next up is our ETSDP process review, and this came out of the P&P. So this was incorporated into the old P&P as part of all the kind of extraneous documents that were within it. And we thought to bring it out and have it as its own independent document. Heather worked her magic on some of the formatting and the non-screamy caps and bold that were kind of endemic to it to begin with. So there you have it. So this is the new and revised 21st century ETSDP process.
Nothing
Good
says
job,
professional
Heather.
like Comic Sans.
When I'm not on the board, I'm going to send you a letter all in Comic Sans.
All capital Comic Sans.
Yeah. I'm just going to capitalize every other word.
Scream at me in child speak.
Any changes, questions, comments? Well, I'm going to make a motion to accept this ETSDP. What are we calling this? Application form?
Yeah, it's
yeah. I do. I have one comment.
Okay.
There's the last line under standard and the last line under investigational. There's one has OBCE administrative office, the other one doesn't. If we just want them to match.
Yep, it should be both OBCE administrative office. Good
Nice
catch.
catch.
Are you going to also catch the underlined lines in name and phone lines that are weirdly bolded?
Can you fix that?
I don't know.
That
I'm not sure.
happens sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if they're underscores.
I can rewrite it.
No,
look
don't.
at it and fix
It's
it.
not worth it. It's not worth it.
Oh, it is.
Any other changes?
Okay, now I'll make a motion to approve the ETSDP review application as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Karen,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Micah,
Aye.
I for myself, motion carries.
Okay.
All right.
Got through the boring stuff. Okay, correspondence. So our first one being, I was very, very pleased to receive our progress report on the governor's expectations. And so we are doing wonderfully on those that were relevant to us. Some were non-applicable for such a small agency, but we're doing fantastic. So I wanted to just thank everyone and thank staff and thank you board members for like what we just did on all those strategic plans. If it wasn't for you approving those and reviewing them, we would not be on time with these things. So thank you very much. That's that one.
And thank you, Cass, for making us. We are only as good as you help us be. So good job. Good job to everybody, but Cass, good job to you too.
All right, so then we have comments from folks. And I don't know, we have kind of attention, kind of immediate things that have gone on. And with regard to comments and calls that we've received from Minga Guerrero, and she's, I think in 10G was her public comment as far as her voicemail, but she also just recently left us a voicemail. I don't know if she's on right now. With regard to the licensee who was detained by ICE, and that made the news. And so I wanted to give everybody a chance to see that call or to listen to it. And we have had reach out from OPB, wanted a comment on whether, or information on whether the board required active visas or ability to work in the country in order to license them. And our rules and statutes do not require proof of a valid visa or citizenship for licensure. And so that's what I responded to OPB. So that's pretty much it. I haven't responded to Minga. I'm not sure if you would like me to, or if Michelle, you would like to. I know there's it's rather a difficult situation for the family and for the licensee. And I know there's community activism around trying to prevent his detainment, or at least facilitate his release. And I know our federal legislators are working on assisting with that. So I'm not sure if the board wants me to take action in some way.
I haven't listened.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I haven't listened to her most recent voicemail, so. Go ahead, Lori.
I think it's appropriate to respond.
Well, we've already responded to OPB, but as far as responding to Minga.
I'm okay with that. With answering, I mean, I think, I guess, has she saw the answer?
The question is, the question is that Dr. Guerrero wants the board to take a stance in the detainment, wants to take a political stance, and actually as an agency of the executive body, we can't.
Yeah, we can't.
No. I think it's appropriate to respond to her, but I think we can't take a position on it. But I do think it's appropriate to respond to say we can't take a position.
Mhm. Okay, I can do that. So that was 10G. Then we have 10B is dry needling. I don't know if we want to reopen that right now or wait until tomorrow. I mean, all these things. We have a public comment on the OCPUG finalization, and then a couple of comments on our fee increases. Krista, do you need to be sharing, or are you okay with taking that off?
Oh, no, I would love to take that off.
There we go.
I don't know how much more we can discuss the dry needling, because I think we had talked about last time that it was going to need to be changed in statute, right?
Yes, and I just don't know if we came back to it. I think we wanted to come back to it just because we didn't address it specifically to Dr. McClure. But yeah, I think it would need a statutory change. Remember the conversation. So Mike, for the new folks, the conversation was around essentially opening up scope or incorporating dry needling within scope. And we have a Supreme Court case, Court of Appeals case, that defines or denies dry needling as part of chiropractic scope in Oregon, based on a 1927 definition of physiotherapy. And so Dr. McClure and Dr. Fuchs were positing that we wouldn't have to incorporate or define dry needling under physiotherapy, that we could define it as something else. And that's just not how legal precedent works. We can't just make it up as far as how we define things like that. So in light of that, we have unfortunate legal precedent that I don't think DOJ would be proactive in wanting to take on. And even if we changed our rule to allow for it, we would still have pushback, and rightly so, with the case law. So it would require a statutory change.
So there's that.
That's consistent with my understanding. I don't know where it goes from there.
No, and oftentimes, Mike, so oftentimes folks come to us and say, well, but you're the board and you can make these rules and change the laws. And on paper, we can do that. We could go to the legislature and say, look, we think dry needling is within our scope. However, we're a branch of the executive, we're an arm of the executive branch. We are mandated not to take stances in that way. And the OCA is really the entity that lobbies the legislature on behalf of their members. Now, their membership does not include all of our licensees. It only includes about a third of our licensees, but that is right now the lobbying arm of promoting chiropractic. So if they want that change to include dry needling in scope, then they would need to talk to OCA or lobby on their own and lobby themselves to do that. But we have legal case law that me as an officer of the court doesn't really want to ignore. Funny.
Well, really, I mean, it's the cost behind it. It's not our job to lobby for that, but it also would be very expensive. And so
yeah,
a doc or a group needs to take it on to lobby and get a change, where our job is to protect the public.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay, so there's that.
Okay.
There's really not much. I mean, the comment about the OCPUG, it took us a while to get it updated and posted online, and that's just what happened. so thank you, Dr. Kemper.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We try to be helpful, but sometimes you got to have patience for helpfulness, because I don't think it's required.
And then our fee increases. I know that there's been some social media hullabaloo around our fee increase. And I'm not really sure how much more public notice that we could have provided. I think we had 2 e-blasts go out about it. We had our public notifications for our rulemaking that included our website, our posted agendas, the transparency website, and some other place it was posted. So there you have it. Oh, and the legislature themselves went through increasing our fees legislatively, so they had all that process as well. So so appreciate the feedback. That's what public comment process is for, but this is not the window for public comment with regard to our fee increase. It's already been implemented. And then I think we had another public comment from Alan Deinhardt, and I don't remember what that one is.
It was about the licensee that was detained by ICE.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So,
all right. There you go.
Okay. Let's take a little bit of a break and come back at 2:15.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, sounds great. 2:15.
15-minute break.
2:15, Heather.